We're mad and we're hurt, and our 10-year-old son is the one who has to suffer for it.
Tonight, a News Channel 5 exclusive. For the first time since their 10-year-old son Peyton was poisoned by pesticides, the McCaughey family is sharing its story. They sat down with our Contact 5 investigator, Jared Worksma.
This is a kid who played baseball, played hockey, was learning to surf, and for the doctors to tell us, well, pretty much all that is more than likely gone.
It's a new reality for Lori and Carl McCaughey, and a new way of life for their 10-year-old son, Peyton.
Do you feel like he was cheated, like your family was cheated?
We don't want to publicly criticize anybody or any company, but yeah, we're angry towards Terminix. We're mad and we're hurt, and our 10-year-old son is the one who has to suffer for it.
The Department of Health says Peyton is suffering the effects of sulfurylfluoride poisoning, the toxic gas used hundreds of times a day in fumigations across Florida.
From what we've been told, people have symptoms like we had, the nausea, not feeling well, or they've died, one or the other. Peyton seems to be in this in-between.
And in between, Peyton started to enter on August 17, 2015, a date the McCaughey family will never forget.
We got home about 7:30.
After their Palm City home was fumigated.
There was a placard on the door telling us that any time after 4 was safe to come home.
Lori says within a couple of hours, Peyton wasn't feeling well.
He threw up. I didn't think much of it because Carl had just had the stomach flu.
By 6 in the morning, the whole family felt ill, and Peyton had gone from bad to worse.
Peyton started to say funny things that didn't make sense.
Can you give me an example?
He said something like, "Mommy, how are we going to help all those sick people again?" Like out of nowhere. And that's when I said, "Carl, we've got to get out of here. Something's wrong."
The family rushed to a nearby urgent care facility. Concerned about the possibility of poisoning, Carl says he called Terminix.
Explaining to me that there's no possible way that there's any gases or anything. They had checked it.
The family says the urgent care doctor disagreed.
He said, "No, your family's been poisoned." He called ahead to St. Mary's. He said, "Get in the car right now. Peyton may have a seizure on the way down, but keep driving."
Did it hit you at all at that point what was happening or how severe this might be?
To me at that point, I was like, okay, we're on our way to St. Mary's. They're going to make it all better.
Things did not get better. That evening, Peyton started to show signs of the damage done to his brain.
At that point, his head would flop side to side, his tongue's hanging out of his mouth, uncontrollable movements in his all 4 extremities for 12 hours at a time, until he was just so exhausted he would sleep for 2 hours. And then he'd wake up and it would just kind of gradually start all over again. It was a nightmare.
Was Peyton scared when this was going on?
He couldn't talk well, but he asked if he was going to die at one point.
Peyton spent nearly 6 weeks at 3 different hospitals, Lori and Carl refusing to leave his side.
As he recovered and, as he was starting to regain strength and stuff, at that point he was just mad that he was in that situation.
Some of Peyton's favorite players from the Miami Dolphins even tried to make it more enjoyable before he was finally able to return home on September 25th.
Explain to me a little bit about why Peyton isn't here.
Peyton just doesn't want to be in the spotlight. He just wants to be a normal kid going about his normal business. This was not his choice. No one gave him a choice.
Unfortunately, Peyton's life has been anything but normal since returning home.
From the time he gets up to the time he goes to bed, he needs one of us there.
The family's dining room is now the physical therapy room.
He has a speech therapy. He has certain exercises he does with his mouth and his tongue to regain some strength, and he is talking a lot better. He has his occupational therapy to help him relearn how to go to the bathroom by himself, dress himself, brush his hair, brush his teeth.
They say their son has taken all the challenges in stride.
Never once has he said, "Why me? Why is this happening to me?" I mean, he's just pushing through it.
Has it changed who your son is at all?
As far as he's concerned, he's fine.
Yeah.
And he's going to be fine. And he talks to all of his therapists and says, "When I'm all the way better, we're going to have a kickball game and I want you to be there." And sorry.
Peyton may need lifelong care. That is part of the reason the McCaughys are suing Terminex, its subcontractor Sunland Pest Control, and the chemical manufacturer Insistix. McCaughys are also hoping that their story will help change pest control practices. Contact 5 investigators have been looking into fumigations and alternatives since Peyton was poisoned. Tomorrow night at 6, we'll show you why some say Florida is behind the times. I'm Jared Worksman, WPTV News Channel 5.